What we're here for is to hook up this EG4 3000 watt inverter. We're going to be installing two of them, and they're going to be placed here side by side, allowing us to feed power into the breaker box here. This was originally fed by a 220 volt 7600 watt inverter. I've taken the breaker box apart, removed some of the unnecessary components we had, even rerouted one of the plugs down here to run the water pump and all that stuff. But that's not what we're here for. This was originally fed by a 220 volt generator that would sit outside and burn about $15 to $20 worth of gas every day. So we're replacing it with a complete solar system that we can still plug into a small outlet if we need it for charging. What the plan is to install two of these. I'm going to start with this one. We will run the battery cables down through the breakers, and we will have two EG4 batteries sitting down here. And then we will run the power up and into this breaker box. Now, one of the tricks that we have to deal with on this is going to be dealing with this is a split phase breaker box, and we will have to figure out a way to make all of the circuits run on a single outlet, because what I don't want is I don't want a half 3000 on one and 3000 on the other leg, and then have one leg go over a little bit and shut the whole system down. What I would prefer to do is have 6,000 watts total, knowing that that can run all of the equipment, and if it needs to use a little bit from both of them, it can. So we will be running these in parallel and not in split phase modes. So we basically have three different wiring paths here that we're going to be dealing with. The first one here is the PV in. We will have the PV coming in from the roof, which is currently over here and just terminates there. But we have two panels on the roof equating for about 600 and actually about 740 watts of power up there. So we will run those in to charge from here for one of them, and there will be and we will put a PV disconnect here on this bar also. Then we will have the second set of power come the AC out power. It will run up and into the breaker box, and when we get the second unit, it'll also feed down here and across and up into this breaker box, and we will tie them together. One of the key things here to do is to hook your battery cables up. There is a inset screws here through this little plastic window, and you need to loosen them up. Now, the nice thing is that these are standard electrical screws, so you can use a square bit on them or a flathead. And I'm going to go ahead and connect these up. We just need to loosen it up, and it does state that the positive is on the left and the negative is on the right. On the bottom down here, there's a label. So I'm going to connect these both up. Now, one of the things that I can give you, a little tip that I can give you when you do this, if you're like me and you're going to be trimming it and putting a breaker in it, which I will be doing, which is shown right there below, is that you're going to want to cut the cable, put on some ferrules, and then attach it back to the breaker. And so what I'm going to do is I leave these sit in the sun for a little bit right before I do this, so that they're a little bit softer, and then I can quickly get in there and get the ferrule on it. So what I'm going to do is just basically give myself a little bit of extra room here by pushing this over here right below the PV, so the PV can flow straight down if I want it to. And I'm going to trim it off right about here. And then I'm going to want to put a ferrule on this. This is 4-AUG wire. So I've got some 4-AUG, some ferrules that I got. And I'm going to just slip one of these over the end, but I need to trim it back before I do so. So here we are. I'm going to take this wire and basically carefully cut back as much as I need here. Now it does fit over the end, so it does need to be trimmed back all the way to here to make sure that I have enough to fit all the way up into that ferrule. So I'm going to just cut it right here and just carefully, it's nice and soft because it's been sitting in the sun. So you want to go through the insulation, but not take any of the strands of wire with you. So be very, very careful when you're doing this piece of it that you don't take any strands of wire. This last few bit I'm just going to work off. And then you slide the ferrule. What's nice about these ferrules is they hold all the wires together for you. And you don't need to put in any shrink wrap around them to make them look nice. Insert them all the way in, as you can see, it goes there. Now I'm not going to crimp these because when I tighten this down, it will do its own crimping. Fit that down in there nice and neat, and then just crimp it down. And there we have it. The negative will run straight to the battery, so I don't have to do anything there. Then we just have to do the other end. So we'll do the same here. All right, now that we've got the batteries connected up here at the top, we want to connect the bus bars down here at the bottom. The batteries are about 20 inches, 19, 20 inches high, and the cables run back like this. So we're going to mount the bus bars up about 20, 26, 27 inches, somewhere in that range. They don't have to be perfect, but they need to be high enough to be over the batteries. So somewhere in this area right about here is perfect. We're going to put the positive bus bar on the left and the negative on the right. The bus bars came with screws, so we will use those. Now I am leaving the original cables links of the batteries from EG4 on here. I move these batteries from one system to another, so this allows me to continue moving them without problems. All right, now the inverters can connect to these bus bars, and when I have more than one inverter, they can share this bus bar between them. All right, so let's go over the system and all of the changes that we had to make, because I ran into a couple of things during installation that I had to change. First of all, I had to change the input here. Instead of using a simple, 120 wall outlet, I realized that I have a 220 50 amp plug outside, and if I did not fix that in the breaker and this was plugged on and this was turned on, that I would have a really bad day. So what I decided to do is I disconnected the 50 amp that comes up here, and now inside this panel it splits off and sends leg 1 over to inverter 1 and inverter 2. I did not send leg 1 here and leg 2 over there because it needs to be the same phase of AC power so that when it goes into bypass that it has the same source and that they match. Otherwise these will see an incompatibility in the electricity, and one of them will shut down, and I'm assuming the parallel one will never come up, but it certainly could cause damage if it did come up, because they would be completely 180 difference in phase. So I wanted to fix that. So that's been resolved. In here, the 220 comes in, L2 is capped, L1, the ground runs to the ground, the neutral and L1 run over here to supply power to that. Now I installed a secondary cable coming out here to run over to the second inverter to provide it with grid power also. And they both come from L1, and it allows for 6,000 watts of bypass. If I was to pull that much, I will never be pulling that much through that outlet, and I will turn down the charger because I don't really need the charger per se. I need it to be there for long-term use. Short-term use, it can use the batteries and then slowly charge them up over a period of time. So let's talk about the second connection. The second connection is here. This runs into this battery under this dual breaker here. Not L1. The first inverter is on the left breaker, the second inverter is on the right breaker, and that is where this cable here comes out and will connect to the second breaker, the second inverter in the next video. Then we will have both of these, and when I turn these on and I click this up, it will turn both of them and energize the panel. These have been shorted out to merge the L1 and the L2 within this panel, and this is now only a 120 panel, and I will put some warning stickers on here to make sure that anyone in the future that ever works on it understands that needs to that you need to be aware of that when it's in here. When you plug in the outside power from here and it goes into bypass, the bypass comes in here from L1 and goes out to this panel, and then of course both of them end up being on the same panel. So now I have good, reliable 50 amp power plug, 120 amp power plug, or whichever power plug I want. Now on the outside, when you plug into a 240 volt 50 amp plug and you have a step down to a 110, it basically crosses L1 and L2, essentially doing the same thing that I'm doing here, and so we don't have any problems there. I also was forced to remove all the PV charging from the unit. For a very specific reason. This charger requires 120 volts in order for the PV to effectively turn on. I only have 2 panels up there, and I simply don't have enough voltage in those panels when I'm stationary or when I'm parked somewhere, short of adding more panels to a side or something, which is an option in the future, but not immediately. So what I did is I added a Victron 100/20. This charge controller can put in up to 500 and let's say 1040 watts, which is more than the panels I have up there. I only have 2 390 watt panels up there. So this will do all of the charging. This is a shut-off switch for it, and the PV comes in from here and comes over to the charger, which goes down to the battery. The nice thing is that means that I can shut these off and the charger can run independently now. And I don't have to worry about that. The off-on switch for the batteries is still the same, and as you can see, I did hook up a single EG4 battery down here at the bottom, and the positive runs up and connects to the positive bus, the negative over here to the negative bus, and this powers the entire system. Everything is operating and running, and you can see the air conditioner over here on the side. I'm going to turn this on so that we can see some of the power that this thing has. So this wall plug right down here everything is operating off grid right now. So I'm going to plug this in, and you hear the air conditioner come on, and I hope that camera is down far enough for you to see that. Let me just move this over a little bit. And I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to put it in cool mode. I'm going to turn it down to, I don't know, it's pretty cool outside. I'm going to turn it down to 67. And you'll see here this just jumped up to 31% usage, 36%, 37%, which means it's running a little over 1,000 watts of input, which is basically the air conditioner is on and operating perfectly. I did see 150% load when this AC kicked on, but I did not hear any kickback from the air conditioning unit itself. It started without issue. That is with one of these here. When I have 2 of them, that load would then be split between the 2 and be even more efficient and easier to start. So at this point, everything is done. The system is fully operational. It is fully running. All the lights work. All of the connections are there and complete. All the connections are there. They're complete. Everything is functioning correctly. The only thing I have left are these 2 wires which lead to the second inverter. Everything else will be done. There will be no PV on the second inverter connection. We will cover installation of that, connecting the grid in and the load out, and we will basically cover the parallel setup of how you connect it parallel and how you configure it. That's all the configurations for today, and that concludes the stress testing, the setup and configuration, and basically all that is left is putting the cover on the inverter, which I basically had taken off for no other reason but to show you guys on film. And then I will get started on the next video, which is to show 2 of these in parallel, where they can share the load, and that I can power up the entire coffee trailer. So we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.